All right, we're live.
Nice.
How's it going, Tony?
Today is a good day. It's Friday. We got to hold my sparkling ice and getting after it.
Got the old what do you call it?
Celsius?
Arnold Palmer
Oh,
energy drink.
Monster. Gotcha.
Always a good one. Um,
So what's
well,
new?
hey, listen, not much, but we got Jolly coming on. He's going to come on about 2:15. He is making cold calls right now as we speak. So if you ever doubt what he does, there you go.
You know, cold calling is dead, right?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Explain a little bit.
Until it works.
Oh, everything's dead till it works again.
I was getting my windshield replaced. I had a crack in my window, and I went through the car wash. It was like 95 degrees out, and that little crack went all the way down the window. And bad day. But I was getting my windshield replaced, and I was sitting there on the laptop, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to call these guys. So I called the guy, and he was like, "Wow, that's the best pitch I've heard in years." And I was like, "Because it wasn't a pitch. I was just telling you what we're doing." And he was like, "All right, I'll give you my email. You can start sending us some quotes or something." So yeah, cold calling is dead. I never answered the phone, but apparently it still works.
Yeah. It comes down to whether you catch them at the right time.
Not everybody's me either. Thank God.
That's true. Not everybody's Tony.
But
What
that's
do you?
a good.
So what do you see it like? Are you still talking to, multiple people, or some people that are still in the shipping, or even at Lippert? That are you getting any insights or anything on what market's looking like, or what's coming up?
I know housing, manufactured housing, and housing in general is still creeping up slowly, but it's there's indicators that it's going to look better. My experience is presidential election years. There's always a lull right before the election, and then after the election, depending on which candidate is more business favorable, there's always a bump of certainty. So you're going to get some rebound, just a matter of who and how much after the election, like it always does.
Right. Huh.
Got my Purdue T-shirt on. My daughter's moving back tomorrow for her senior year. Good for her.
Nice. Yeah. So I've kind of seen a little bit of different. I mean, from my standpoint, it's more or less like, from like even the automotive. It's like certain automotive makers are going to be picking up. That's what they're saying. Like this automotive maker is going to be picking up, or this one is going to be picking up. And I think I don't think it's necessarily if the market's going to change or pick up. I think it's just certain avenues, certain types of freight. Of course, there's things that are dictated by the seasons and what time of year it is. I mean, that plays a big role. But outside of that, I think it's just more or less. I think we just hit such a big bump there after COVID that everybody is looking for that to come back, and I don't see that coming back very soon.
No, that was a unique circumstance that there was worldwide backlog everywhere, and then when it all let go, it let go. And I don't think. I mean, I hope that there's no conditions that offer that opportunity again, just because of what a terrible situation that whole deal was, with people getting sick and dying and people staying away from everybody. Well, that part was good. The staying away from me was awesome, but that's how I normally operate anyways. But people not being able to see their loved ones in nursing homes and stuff like that, it was just terrible. I'm glad it's over.
Yeah,
I just don't see it happening again.
Weird situation, for sure.
I guess there's monkeypox coming out of Africa now, somebody said.
Oh.
Watching the news this morning, and I was like, oh, great. Just in time.
Sounds kind of fun. What's monkeypox? What do you got for us on that?
I got nothing. All I know now.
Monkeypox, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know what? Maybe shipments of bananas are going to increase tremendously. I think people are going to start craving bananas. I think it's gonna be a huge thing. You know what I mean?
I could use a banana right now. I do enjoy a nice banana.
It's cramping.
It's good for the heartburn.
Hey, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I wear my Under Armour polo and my hat in honor of Chris Jolly.
Oh,
I don't have the orange. I wouldn't go that far, Tony. That's his territory.
Yeah, you got to look like a traffic cone.
Yeah, he is a parking pylon, isn't he? He does a good job. He'll be
Yeah,
on here
sure.
shortly, but I wanted to kind of go into a little bit on just Tony, I think you talked last week a little bit on your journey and things like that. But what are the biggest differences you're seeing? I mean, just not even differences, but like in what your role there was compared to here, and how much did your role even really encompass shipping? As much as, yes, you were shipping manager, how much did you play a part in all the other types of things that were going on over there too?
Oh, it was. I mean, I'll bet you out of a 9 or 10 hour day, I probably spent less than an hour actually shipping anything.
Yeah.
Everything else was team building, team leading, team meetings, scheduling, production, in order to get stuff done so that the truckload would be efficient and we didn't have to send a second, stuff like that. Working with team members to help them grow on their journey, coaching. I miss that part because, we're on our own team now, and it's I miss that part, but I don't at the same time, because as much as I love people, I hate people. It's nice to take a break and not have a leadership responsibility currently, where I don't have a bunch of subordinates that I have to manage, maintain, and help grow. And it is awesome to help grow, and Lippert does a great job of developing leadership qualities with people, but I am ever grateful for that. But man, it was a struggle for me. It's not something that comes natural, and it is, there's born leaders and there's learned leaders, and I believe both of those are true. But I think, like athletes, the harder you work at it, the better you'll be at it, regardless of where you start with talent. So I think both of those cases are true, but that it's a really challenge for people like me who are relatively introverted and not all up in your face with, positive leadership qualities that we're just born with in a personality.
Yeah. So you see it more of taking off, like a lot of that's taken off your shoulders. Now it's more or less like, can you lead yourself?
Right.
Right. And that sometimes is a little bit of a different type of, I don't know. That's a little bit of a different type of ball game. And it sounds easy. Yeah. It sounds easy, but when you feed off of, leading others and doing things for others, and then you go to where it's just you, it is different. It's a whole different ball game. Man.
It is. It's definitely different. And, leading yourself is, happy Friday, Nick. Glad you're on, man. The self-discipline part of leading yourself it can be tough. I mean, if you're doing what you love, it's not difficult, but it's still, when you're just there and you're not like overly supervised and going to meetings 3 times a day or 8 times a day or whatever, you can get easily sidetracked. And I have to plan my time and go off a schedule and check my boxes and go through my routines that I want to do so that I can get the level of productivity out that I want. And then that structure and organization helps me quite a bit, especially now that we're, working from the confines of home, getting out and meeting with people. I want to schedule more meetings, and I like to press the flesh. I like to be face to face. I like to be on the docks. That's home for me,
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think it's different. It's different not having that, that daily, rah that gets you going. But I think it's good. I think it's good for you to have to do it and figure out where you're at and what all you can really bring to the table. And I think you find some new things too. I don't think it's just something that just sticks around.
No.
You know what I mean? I think it's something that, you're constantly evolving. And if you're willing to constantly evolve, then I think, you get better and better. But speaking of evolving, there's a lot of people evolving in this world. And there's very few that have evolved and continue to evolve, like CJ3, also known as the Freight Coach.
What's up, fellas?
Freight Coach.
And here he is.
What up?
Hey, did you see what I wore today in your honor, Chris? I went with the
Under Armour polo.
You have the hat. But I told Tony I wasn't going to tread on too thin ice because I wasn't going to go orange. You know what I mean? I'll stick in my lane.
Dude,
we can only have one traffic cone in the chat.
Amen to that. What's up, guys?
going on, man? We were
Oh,
just
dude.
kind of touching on our just kind of our transition a little bit here, kind of what we're seeing and what Tony's been talking to people about, industry wise, and I think we could sit and talk all day. Is it going to come back? Is it going to be this or that? I think it's just whether or not you got your head on a swivel, and certain things are going to, I think, come around a little bit more than others. But we wanted to get kind of a good discussion going on what you're seeing and what you are thinking here with how much you're involved in on a daily basis with people from all over the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually talking about this morning on my live show with Adam Wingfield. 99% of the information out there is irrelevant to what I need to do in my business, and that's
Right.
develop business, right? And I think that is a overwhelming majority of people that are out there. I can't pay attention to anything besides my internal dialogue and like, hey, I got to reach out. I got to introduce myself to as many people that I possibly can where I feel like my services can align. And I got to hold myself to that standard. And, I don't care if it's an up market, down market, east, west, it doesn't matter. I have to generate revenue because I got a family to support. I got a business to build. And I don't really care what any of the economic data out there says. I can't let that deter me from doing what I need to do.
Do you see an upcoming uptick either with post-presidential election or New Year?
I mean, I think there's one candidate that is very much has a solid economic plan that is out there. And, that is very much America first in bringing jobs back here, manufacturing back here. And I think that if that all gets rolled out in that direction, then yeah, that would be a very much of an uptick. And, I interviewed, and then again, man, like with the ports being what they are, there's a lot of variables that are out there. I want to see more jobs back here. I mean, you guys are from Indiana. I'm from Wisconsin. I mean, we're from the heartland, we're from how many jobs left since we were kids? A lot, man. A lot of factories have closed down, and I want people that in office that want to bring that shit back here.
Yeah, there's a lot of empty factories around town. I can tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's crazy how many.
Go ahead, Peter.
Go ahead, Tony. You got it.
We were talking before you got on here about what we think the market's going to do, and I have always, my experience has been there's always a bump after the certainty of an election outcome is determined. It's just a matter of how much.
Yeah. No, I
decides how much it's going to bump, but there's always a confidence bump there.
Yeah, and I think that it's you have to look at the United States as a business because that's what it is ultimately when it boils down to it, right? The United States as a country is a business, and when it comes down to our dependence on other people to operate as a country, I think that's something that could potentially be a choke point. And I think if anything, these last couple of years have proven is that we can't control if another country shuts down due to stuff, right? And then all of a sudden we're kind of left hanging in a lot of those instances. And I think that, our industry is very much dependent upon, elections and everything else. And, the policies that are going in there. And I mean, you can follow it on Wall Street as well, right? Like what happens on Wall Street inevitably affects it. And it's just a trickle down effect.
Yeah. What do you see as like, I mean, I don't want to talk any kind of politics or sides or anything like that, because who cares? But what do you see as like the main contributing factor to that? Like, I know like there's Mr. Business Guy and then the other guy or other gal, and regardless of party or political affiliation, what do you think is the right answer for getting more of that business in the economy going again?
Yeah, I think a lot of there's a lot that needs to happen. I think that, fundamentally there's a lot of information trying to think of the best way to put this without going
Yeah,
off.
I threw you right on the spot. We don't rehearse this ahead of time, guys. This is all.
No, I know.
I had no idea I was going to ask that question.
Listen, I like shooting from the hip. I truly do, because I think that, you know, when it comes down to our future, right? We're all fathers. The three of us are all fathers. What do the next 20, 30 years look like for our children and our opportunity, then their opportunities that they're going to be faced with? And I want to, you know, I want people that are concerned about that, right? I want people that are concerned about the well-being of our children and those, you know, and our grandchildren and stuff like that. And I think that, you know, from my perspective, we're in a very rocky spot. You know, like we're at the front of a few proxy wars. You know, we're funding that across the globe, and there's a lot. I mean, shit, man, we're one bad sneeze away from being in a really shitty position. You know,
I'm one bad sneeze away from being in a really shitty position in the grocery store. That's the war I'm fighting.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, man. Is so it's like when you go out there, and you see, you know, headlines that it is like. I mean, I was last weekend, same thing, man. I think I went to the grocery store and we bought like 7 things, and it was like $120. You know,
Yeah.
so it's like when I see some of these headlines about, oh, inflation's this, I'm like, where?
Yeah,
You
I'd
know?
love to get it down to what they're reporting.
Yeah, and
No,
you know,
I don't like getting to talk about it either, because it's like, what?
Yeah. No, and that's exactly it, right? But again, to tie it into our industry, that affects everything, right? Like Tony, you worked, you know, in manufacturing for a very long time. That stops people from possibly purchasing inventory in bulk. That definitely sways a lot of that stuff out there when the cost of goods is up. The cost of containers coming in from overseas, that's clearly been elevated. And then on top of that too, you know, like a lot of the legislation that's been recently passed through the FMC about detention and demurrage fees, that could, you know, like that could potentially throw a wrench in some things as well. So I think that there's a lot of different things that are out there. And then I saw, was it Sean Rush that said about tax incentives? Like, I mean, Jesus, right there. Like that, I think that's the first thing that needs to be tackled is, you know, it's our taxes. Because if you break it down, man, I mean, not only do we have income tax, we have sales tax on what we purchase at the store, we have gas tax, we have property tax. Realistically, man, we're taxed at like 60-70% by the time it's all said and done, you know,
On money that you've already been taxed on.
correct. So I think that, you know, that's a logical first place to look is this tax. And then, and then our job, our the future jobs that are out there. I mean, I think it's been very obvious what's happened to the middle class here over these last couple of years. It's been an absolute assault on it. And I think that affects the everyday America. It really does.
Yeah. I'm go ahead, TJ.
No, I agree with you. And it very much is. And you knew it was coming. I mean, like with how much stimulus and stuff that was pumped into the economy, and it just goes to show how responsible really the U.S. is in general, just with their finances. You know, I mean, you get all this stimulus and all these things, and purchasing goes up, and all these things go up, but the amount of savings. I mean, how many savings accounts actually went up? You know, how many investments? You know, I mean, there's quite a few, I'm sure, but compared to how much they were putting into purchasing, you know, whether it was in the recreational, you know, vehicles or this or that. Yes, it pumped into our industry especially, but I think now you see people tightening up a little bit more, right? Interest rates, nothing bounces back the way they thought it would, and all that extra money they had now is gone, and you got to do something with it. And I don't know. I mean, they're hanging tight.
Here's my take, and not to get down a rabbit hole, but I'm an economics nerd. I love following like macroeconomics and policy, kind of like theoretical physics. It's not the math, but I like the concept. So in macroeconomic policy, I am adamantly opposed to all of the quantitative easing, which is stimulus. Anytime they inject money into the economy, it's a bad thing. Everybody says it's good, but it's bad. So the best analogy is this. If there was $100 in the entire economy, and TJ, you had 50, and Jolly, you had 50, and I'm the government, I'm just like, hey man, we need more money in the economy to stimulate. I want to throw another $50 in there. Your 50% percentage just went down to 33%, and your dollar amount didn't change. So all that stimulus does is devalue the money that you already have, the money that you've already saved, the money that you've already collected, the money that you have in your account, and the money that you can spend is now worth less than it was 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I think the biggest indicator out there, especially for because if you want to talk about the freight market, for example, I think a very big indicator that's not being talked about by anybody is consumer debt, right? Credit card debt is at an all-time high. Last time I checked, I mean, you can fact check me if you want, but last time I checked, credit card debt was at an all-time high in this country. Cash savings was at an all-time low in this country. So therefore, there's not a lot of discretionary spending that's happening, right? I mean, because
buying power went away.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, I don't have to decide whether I put gas in my vehicle or buy groceries this week. But I'm sure there's people out there that are in that situation, right? That their credit cards are maxed out and stuff like that, and they don't know what they're going to be doing here in the coming months. So it's like, if you look at that and tie it into freight, I don't know how much of a peak season there's going to be this year. Because I don't know how many people out there are going to be able to afford Christmas presents if their credit cards are maxed out and everything else. And yeah, they might take out a BS loan or whatever it is. But it's like, I think that there's a lot of stuff that's out there that can deter you from doing what you need to do in business. And you can find every reason to not pick up the phone, and you can find every reason to not do things. And I just don't pay attention to that stuff because I can't control what happens. I'm not in DC, thankfully, but I wouldn't even be allowed in there because they don't want common sense. But but I think everybody needs to look at, all right, what can you control? If you want things to change, what can you do to be a part of the change? I think that there's enough people out there who love being a part of the problem and talking negativity and spewing negativity in the world that we should probably change our trajectory to who's out there trying to change things for the better. Who's out there, and then what can you do inside of your own home, right? And that's where a lot of my focus is. I can control my four walls, right? I can control the example I am for my son. I can control the husband I am to my wife, and I can control the man I am. That's really ultimately all I can control, and that's really what I'm focusing on. And I feel like that ripple effect is crucial. I mean, Andy Frisella talks about this on the Real AF podcast all the time. Personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion. If we look at the entire country, it can be very distracting to be like, oh my God, what can little old me do? Hold yourself accountable, hold yourself to higher standards. That's what I think everybody should start and focus on. And I think the ripple effect would be far and wide on everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you do that, if you start with yourself, people, oh, well, that's not, the problem is people don't have any patience anymore either. Everything needs to be done right now. And the only way to make it here's two ways that you can help with climate change or with the economy or whatever. And one of them is you can go be an idiot somewhere and hold up a sign and yell and scream and do whatever, or you could start with yourself, right? And get yourself down to where you need to be. Make yourself, good for the public, good for your, local economy, good for your local government, right? Get out, help people, get it that way, get involved, right? And then maybe go from there. Maybe get more of a say now. Maybe you could do it the right way, but oh no, that's too much work, and that means I'm going to have to, it's going to take longer. We don't have time, and the point is that it doesn't matter. You could either do that, or you could go out and just be an idiot. I think if nobody wants to focus on themselves, like you said, Chris, and as soon as you get somebody in a position to do so, they'll bail on it right away.
Dude, I look at it like this too, and because obviously that I can understand how anybody could say that this is hypocritical, considering I've built a brand on social media and everything else, but everything that you see out there can be doctored. A lot of it's fake, right? Downloads you can purchase downloads, you can purchase likes, you can purchase followers, you can purchase engagement. So what's real and what's not? I mean, here's the thing. I hired somebody here recently, or it probably hasn't been recently. It's 4 months now, where I'm very fortunate to have a guy who handles all my marketing now. He's on my staff. Fucking gangster, right? I just get to talk shit into a mic. I send him everything. He chops it up, posts it out there for me. But he's the one who told me. He's the one who told me all of this, because I was like, yeah, man, I like the organic growth. I'm like, everything that I have, this is all organic. I haven't bought a follower. I haven't. And he's like, we want to learn something about that. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And he broke it all down for me. He said, there are teams of people out there across the globe where you can purchase engagement. So you can look like you have 1 million followers, but really you got like fucking 6. So again, if you break it down, what's real and what's not out there, I think so many people are out there trying to get social media clout. 99% of it is bullshit.
And what's the point?
Exactly, bro.
Why?
Like the way that I see it, Tony, is like if I have an opinion that you don't agree with and you want to talk shit online, A, good for you. Like you're entitled to that opinion. B, if you saw me in real life, you're not gonna fucking walk up to me. You're not gonna say a fucking me in person. You're gonna put your head down and walk in the other direction. You know?
Yeah.
So
Mike Tyson said it. I always go back to that Mike Tyson quote. You know, a lot of people have opinions and nobody gets punched in the face.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, more people need to get punched in the face, I think is what he said.
Dude, that's the thing, man. But again, I feel like there's so much shit that's out there to distract you from what you need to do. And I think that's where a lot of people, again, you want to seek comfort in fantasy land, right? But last time I checked social media, well, I mean, it kind of pays my bills, but like,
Right.
Like it very rarely does social media pay your mortgage. Very rarely does that stuff actually pay your bills out there. And I think that that's what more people need to be focused on is again, back to controlling your controllables. Like I got a business to run, right? Like me and my business partner, we have families to fucking support. Like this shit's not a game to me. Like if I fuck up, man, I lose everything. I got everything on the line. I don't have any backup plan or a golden parachute. It's fucking me. I am the one that has to fucking take care of shit. So it's like, take that for what it's worth. I got to okay, Mark, that's funny. He's got the Mike Tyson.
Yeah. That's the right quote. That's what I was looking for. Thanks, Mark.
Leave that to Mark to jump in and put that in there.
But what you guys are missing is he's got the Tyson lisp at the end there.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
I don't know. Trey said it's awesome to go to bed at night, sleeping. How do you sleep at night knowing all of your following is fake? I try to be as real as I can on social media. The only thing that I kind of fake is my positivity because I'm not as positive as I portray myself on social media all the time because I struggle with that. I'm life and work and everything that's going on in your world sometimes will get to you a little bit more. And sometimes half the time I post something positive about somebody because I need to hear it. So I try to go and add to the good instead of add to the bad because I want to fill more people with that positive feeling and that positive reinforcement, whatever you want to call it, than everybody out there complaining. I just got sick of it. And that's when I started doing the positive broker post Mondays or positive carriers or whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing, man, is I feel like there's more good in this industry than bad, but unfortunately with social media, the bad gets a lot of the engagement. And I think that's why a lot of people stick with it. Right. And, like what Trey said about, not having real followers. Here's the one thing you can't fake in life: impact. You can't fake the positive impact that you should make. And I think if more people focused on that, and again, like, I got to give myself credit where credit's due. I feel like I've stayed pretty much on course these last 4 years about just providing education and insight for the industry and not kind of going off the rails and saying, fuck this person or tagging this person. I don't want to do any of that bullshit, right? Like I want to stay on my mission, and that's just to provide value out. I don't know everything, right? But like I know enough of what not to do, but I know a lot of really great fucking people in this industry that know way more than I do about topics. Let's just build a platform that benefits people, right? Like, why don't we just focus on that? How much value can we give out there to the industry?
Jolly, that's why we've been friends for 4 years.
Yeah, and that's why we've been able to stick to kind of what we've done. And so I think, like you said, we've kind of done that way. I mean, we've had people approach us about, sponsorship here, or you should do this, or you should do that. You want to add to your engagement, you want to add this and that. I mean, we haven't even got it. We're just now talking about even extending this out to like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's like we've always just been like LinkedIn or YouTube, and it's just something that we've always done. For us, it's been easy, right? Because we were working, so it's easy to get on, be live, and then go right back to what we're doing. You know what I mean? Without having to sit there and post it up to here, do all those types of things. And just make it nice and simple.
And the goal,
but like you said, though, it also allows us to continue. So it's been 4 years for us too. I mean, we kind of started about the same time, and we've come and gone a couple of times. But to get back into it's not hard because it's really the same thing. at the end of the day, you can slap a different label on it or whatever you want to do, but it's us showing up with people who are real and talking real freight. And that's kind of what we've always done. And I think that goes a long way.
And that was the idea. That's why we called it Hold My Beer, you know, like the whatever that account is where people are doing stupid stuff and they're just trying stuff that they don't know if they can succeed in or not. That the idea was to just, hey, let's go try it and see what we can do and see if we can make an impact on a positive way.
I think that, you know, I think what's funny is you know, that like people try and like make rules for social media and stuff. I'm just like, man, I want more people to create content. I really do, man, because like, who gives a fuck what somebody else says? Like, I guess, I don't know. I guess I have, you know, an actual life, you could call it. And like, I don't like, I read what people say, but like nothing throws me off that much of a trajectory where I have to feel like I have to comment and talk shit to people. Like, dude, if you had a great day, if you want to post a selfie, if you want to do you, man, like, do you? Last time I checked, again, like, correct me if I'm wrong, you know, the First Amendment's, you know, pretty applicable. I mean, say whatever the fuck you want, you know.
Well, you know what gets me is when people engage with those, you know, girls that post selfies and they get torn down because they have a picture of themselves. Well, if that's what works for them, then use it. I wasn't blessed with any of that, obviously. So I'm just trying to be real and positive. But at the end of the day, you got to look at that. Does that take any money out of my paycheck, what TJ posts or what you post? No. Good for you, man. Go get it.
Yeah. People are weak. That's all it is.
Well, it's just worrying, you know, it's a lot easier to worry about what somebody else says or does. And what it does is it keeps you in your own head and your own zone of magical, imaginary reality of that, you know, this and you know the most about this and that or whatever. Cause you read listen, I could go right now. This is my thing. I can go find an article right now that will validate any feeling I have.
Yeah.
I could go find a meme. I could go find anything on the internet, right? If I was feeling like, you know what, I just feel like Tony breathes too loud. And you know what? And I think everybody feels that Tony breathes too loud. And he needs to breathe more through his nose, his mouth. And I'm going to go look it up right now to validate it. And boom, there you go. There's a meme right there. Mouth breathers or it's like
nasal strip. Nasal strip.
It doesn't matter what it is. It could be just an out there loony idea, and you could go find a meme and you go post it on Facebook, and there's gonna people go, oh, what do you need? Do you need help with that? Or oh, you're strong, stay with it. It's like, do you understand there's a reason why there's not like some famous author underneath it, or if there is, it's like just a piece of their quote that they just took out of it. But that's the thing, is like you can find anything to validate you nowadays, but can you be here and get it done here? You know, when it comes down to it, and a lot of people just can't. They got to spew it onto others.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's exactly it, man. It's like, I wish more people would just kind of get back to like celebrating success for other people and like,
right,
you know, wanting other people to succeed. Like, dude, I mean, and again, like anybody who wants to start a podcast in the industry or anything like that, like, man, I'm all about it, dude. Like I've had people reach out to me. They're like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. And I'm like, boom, here's everything you need. Here's the mic. Here's the, you know, RSS feed. You got, you know, go ahead, get to, you know, YouTube, get all the social media blocked into the exact same stuff. Here, just do this, man. Go out there. Because if somebody out there gets the information that they need to succeed, whether it's watching Hold My Beer, whether it's watching me, Trey, anybody, Blythe, anybody else in the industry, good. Fucking good, man.
Yeah, there's so much. There's tons of content out there, and there's people out there that are willing to give away this information for free. And like what we're doing now, what you're doing every morning, and what Trey does every Friday. And, you know, he's got like 3 podcasts, which are all awesome. Blythe, I have been a big fan of her info forever. Sarah Barnes Humphrey. There's so many people out there just putting out good info. The list is long, and I don't want to keep going because there's so many, and I'll forget somebody, and then they'll get ticked off. But there's so many people putting good stuff out there that, I mean, if you have a heart of a student and you want to learn and get better at your job or get better at your life or get better as a dad or a mom or a spouse or whatever, there is opportunity to go do it. And like you said, that self-discipline, just go get it, man, and be happy for the ones that are doing it with you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the people that don't care. I mean, I'm looking at some people here just, you know, between Matt, some of those guys, you know, when they first started, they would call and I help them out with things, and they'd be like, oh, did you see what that one guy put? You see what that one guy put? I'm like, nope. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Who is that? Nobody on here is as important as what they think they are. I'll tell you that right now. You could think you have a huge following. You could think you are just God. Listen, we've all kind of went through a little bit of that phase in which you were like, oh, I'm LinkedIn famous or whatever it is. You know what I mean? They're your little. I'm telling you right now, they'll bail on you with a freaking heartbeat. Like nobody's going to be there standing by your side if you get out of what you believe in and out of control and into something that you shouldn't be in. So just know that it's all good and fine and dandy, but don't worry about what anybody else thinks. You keep doing you the way you know you're supposed to, and everything will come around.
Dude, straight up, man. I agree, and I just wish. Yeah, but again, everybody's got to have a fucking opinion. Everybody's a keyboard warrior these days.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things where it's like more people talk. I find you see it a lot, of course, in politics, right now, even in the debates and stuff. People are more worried about talking about somebody else and what they did wrong and what they're doing. That you don't get very much value out of what they do that's good.
Yeah.
Like I'd much rather spend more time talking about what I can bring to the table than just trying to bash this guy. Like a lot of times that person will probably make themselves look bad enough. You know what I mean? Like, let alone how bad do I look to sit here just constantly going back and forth trying to make them look bad when I didn't get anything out that shows anybody any value at the end of the day, right? I mean, that's how I kind of look at it. That's in all facets. That's in whether it's LinkedIn or not. I mean, like if you got something to say, put a post out. And go out, put it out there, get a conversation going, right? But don't just go through and just be negative all the time to everybody because you feel you know more. Well, then what do you know? Show us you know something, spark some discussion. That's how you ever gets educated. And if you don't, then nothing worth talking about. Jordan Peterson, every conversation worth having, risks offending someone.
I've had more success. I've had more success in my career by helping somebody else than I've had helping myself.
Yeah,
I go and try and help somebody with expecting nothing in return, like Trey said, which is the right way to help somebody always, not like find a camera, Tim Tebow, and just go help somebody. And it turns around and they'll come back around and help you, or somebody will turn around and see that you did that without you trying to make it shown or known. And then they'll come and help you for just because you're out helping somebody. And it's an awesome feeling to have somebody just reach out and say, hey, here's this huge account. There's more than I can handle on here. Why don't you jump in on it too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Like what?
No, there's a lot that goes into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude,
so
what's next? Hold on. Let me. I'm gonna fucking interview you guys here a little bit.
All right.
How are you guys gonna be running with this show? What's the plans for this? Are you guys going to be bringing on guests? Are you guys going to be just talking about the freight market from your perspective? Is it going to be just more casual stuff? Or in TJ?
Yes.
TJ must have fell over.
Just kidding.
He's leaning to the left there. No, that's the idea. All of the above.
Sneeze. We talked about it earlier.
All the above.
Tony,
man.
what are your
I
thoughts?
want to have
Tony?
guests
I'll
on.
give you your thoughts. You give us yours.
Nice. I want to have guests on. I want to have people that are smarter than me that can come on here and tell me what they're learning and what they're doing, because then I can learn from them live. I want to have frontline people out there that are driving trucks and loading trucks and booking trucks, and also maybe some of the higher up folks that can tell me more about what the overall market's doing and what's going on. Like Eric last week, man, that dude is smart and I love being around him, and he's just a wealth of knowledge. But at the same time, I want to have like Ingrid and come out there and tell me why you don't like tracking. Cause we don't need to track Ingrid, track the load, not her. Right. Mm-hmm. So she's big on that. I've never had an issue with that, but I'm a dude in trucking, right? When I was out driving, I didn't care if they saw me going into the bathroom with my phone in my pocket, on tracking. That none of that mattered to me. But
really want to see that.
I'm also not a female in trucking, so I don't know what she's feeling, right? I can't. So I have to learn from somebody firsthand that does that. So I want to continue to have guests, and then when we have good hot topics that we got a lot of hot takes to share, then we'll just not have a guest. Keep going. Now,
yeah. To be honest, at the end of the day, there's a reason why we haven't pushed this out as far as what we could. There's a reason why we got people that get a hold of us that are like, hey, we could really make this huge. We could make this huge. It's like, we could. I think it's fairly big. It's big enough. I think we got a lot of good people that are involved. You look in the comments. I think there's a lot of smart people. A lot of them have been guests on the show before and probably will be again. And I think for us, it's maybe a little bit selfish, but it keeps us involved, man.
Yep.
I mean, it really does. It really keeps you involved just in the industry with other people. And and all the different ideas. And I think that, like what I said before, when you get going in your own zone for a little bit there, and I had it for my first probably 6-7 years of my career, where I was just the man. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't in LinkedIn or anything, but I was one way of doing things, and it always worked and everything. And then you get out here and you start talking to people, and you start realizing, like, holy shit, I didn't know you could do it that way. I didn't know this existed. I didn't know that's what they were thinking. I didn't know that that's what the other side thought. I didn't know about this or that or whatever. Even being friends with Tony. I mean, shoot, we were friends for a year and a half before I even got any freight from him. Never even asked him, because it was like I was learning so much from him. And I think for us, and for me especially, at least, that's a big thing. And this isn't to come out and push as much as we can, but it also does not just help me learning on those little aha moments I still have. You know what I mean? But also, we keep it relevant. It's almost like a South Park, you know what I mean? We're like, dude, we don't got to sit and come up with content because the content's already there for them, right? I mean, I know you love South Park, but they already have their shows created for them because they're just following what's going on in the world, right? Dude, and that's kind of how we kind of do it. And it allows for us not to have to come back and recycle anything or do anything that's, like sit down and take too much time to put anything together. And then we get the messages from people, that are just starting. Hey, man, and I know you get them too, Chris, like, hey, I'm just starting. I really appreciate your content. Like, I learned a lot from this or that. And you're thinking in your head, like, oh, I didn't even think about it that way. Like I thought most people knew that, but they don't. And so it's a good thing to keep rolling with. And that's kind of where we're at.
Dude, we need to we need more South Park out there, I think.
Way more. I feel like it's getting pushed off. Like it's not as popular, but
I think they are. Well, I mean, I don't think anybody's really, I don't believe in the whole cancel bullshit that's out there, but like South Park has held its test of time through ever. They fucking pick on everybody. They make fun of everything. They are fucking hilarious. South Park, I remember I used to watch it with my son before. He was young. All he saw was cartoons, so he didn't actually understand what was going on. But he loved Family Guy a lot too, man, because he loved Stewie the talking baby. He thought that was the greatest thing ever for the longest time.
Yeah.
Family Guy.
You look at like Family Guy. Even, I mean, they were able to throw out racist jokes and things like that to make people laugh. It's the way they worded them, the way they approached it, and it like you said though, they stayed true. They were never up and down on they just stayed at it the way it was. And there's certain things that you can't do, obviously, that Hold My Beer will not do. It doesn't want to do, but compared to some of those shows. But we've stayed consistent, I think, on what we've done, and we've done the same thing. And I think there's very few that really have done that. Some have turned to where they don't even talk to some of the people that even helped them start. But that's let them be them. You know what I mean? I think we all know. It is what it is.
My daughter's an artist, and she drew herself into Family Guy. I don't know if you can see that.
No, I can't.
It doesn't come in there very good. There's a bright light that way with the windows, but my daughter drew herself into Family Guy, and it cracks me up because her sense of humor is weird like mine and sarcastic and dry. And
wait, you're sarcastic, Tony?
No.
And weird? You're weird?
Oh yeah, I'll acknowledge that. I am weird. I get it. Socially awkward, all of that. But you know what? It works because I don't have to be anybody else but me. And I don't care if nobody else likes it. It's just who I am. It's the way I was made, and I was made in the image of God. So that's the way He wanted me.
Amen. I like it.
Yep. Yeah. What my son has a sign in his room says weird is what it say? Weird is just another attribute of excellence or something. I can't remember what it is. Of awesomeness. Sorry. Weird. Oh no, weird is just a side effect of awesomeness.
Dave Ramsey always said this, like in a marriage, if both of you are the same, then one of you is unnecessary. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is encouraging to me, because if we were all the same, I would need no friendship with Jolly. I would need no friendship with TJ. I wouldn't need anybody else. If everybody was just me, I would be happy with myself.
I agree.
Nerf,
you need that variety.
Nerf just said Nerf said he didn't get any drayage opportunities from you, Tony.
Still, Dr. Dre is
Dr. Drage, man. That's tough.
That's somebody else now. I don't know what happened there. I think it probably happened around the same time, but I don't have any drayage. I never have, never will.
So to get back to the main topic, though, like what Chris touched on it right off the bat, I'm glad he did, because it's my take on things. Me and Chris have the same type of approach on a lot of things. And a lot of it is, just controlling what you can control. I can't go out and worry about this or that or whatever it is. And at the end of the day, if I really want something, if you really want something, I always think about this. I used to give this example to my sales reps. Like, say you're going somewhere, right? And something messed up with the hotel, right? There's something with your debit card in the hotel or something's going on. You're going to make, how many calls are you going to make? You're going to call there. You're going to call your bank because you got a big weekend coming up, right? You want to go, right? Something you want to do. You're going to put all these calls in. You're going to try and figure it out. Can you link it up? Or you're going to have to get another hotel. All these things, right? But when there's a lead that you really want to land, how many calls are you making? How like creative are you getting? Like, are you actually sitting down and going, all right, they didn't answer this. So how do I do this? Do I go to this way? I'm going to take this route. I'm going to try this, right? There's none of that, like, that sense of urgency where it's like but if it's for something fun or something you want to do, you'll get creative. You'll find ways to do it. You'll call your mom. She'll send you money or whatever you got to do, you'll do. But man, when it comes to landing an account, there's only just an email. That's all you've sent. I
know. I look at it like this. Still to this day, the most tried and true method of sales and freight is cold calling. Like, just get out there and dial the phone. I mean, I get all the exact same rejection as everybody, right? Every single thing that's out there, I do. But I also have taken the approach where it's like, man, I'm just calling people and introducing myself. That's it. Like, I've introduced myself to strangers before. Like, the overwhelming majority of the time, you get their voicemail, or you're told, hey, we're not adding anybody right now. Okay, well, when are you? Call me back in December. I got a lot of people I'm calling back in December. I know exactly when I talked to them, what they told me, and everything else. And I'm going to follow up, right? Like, I'm not naive to think that I can call anybody and they're just going to give me access to millions and millions of dollars of freight. That's just not how it works. And, again, preparedness goes a long way. I put out a post the other day about this. I said, here's direct feedback that I got from a prospect today. Hey, thank you for being prepared and knowing what we do. All right. Simple as that. I go to their website. I spend a minute researching their website. Got a couple of questions that I'm going to ask them because, again, like the whole customer routed, vendor routed thing, it's very real for some manufacturers out there, you guys. Like, they don't actually have their own freight. So again, take that into consideration. Have a couple of questions and make it. Oh, it's just me. Shit. That's just me that it happens to, Tony?
No, they do have their own freight.
Yeah. Not on the very.
When you miss a deadline or there's something extra, you're always throwing something out there, and you do have your own freight. Even when we're 100% customer routed. Yeah.
But hey, the first 30 seconds, I'm going to be told that exact same thing. But they're always worth a follow-up.
Absolutely.
Yep. And you got to think, no matter as an example, just you being Chris Jolly, you calling up saying, I'm Chris Jolly, do you know who I am? And maybe they do know who you are. It doesn't matter. They could love you, Chris. They could literally have posters of you on their wall, and they still can't give you any freight. They still don't have right now. They're in a freeze on carriers. They're doing this. They're doing that. There's something going on where they just can't give you freight. There's people I've known forever that I've had relationships with that I thought were for sure ends, and they just can't do anything. There's nothing they can do about it. And and it's just is what it is right now. And I think continuing to keep those relationships though and stay in touch and not just give up on them. I don't care if they say call back in December, but just continue those are still warm-ish leads that who knows what has changed in that little bit of time. And so you want to keep your pipeline full. You want to keep yourself busy. You got to hang on to those and just continue to nurture them. You've got things that are going to take a lot longer, just like in a garden, right? Some things are going to grow fast. Some things are going to take forever. But, as long as you're kind of giving everybody a little bit of love, it's going to work out for you.
Speaking of gardens, everybody wants some green beans. I was staying with my aunt the last couple of months, and oh my gosh, we have green beans coming out of our ears.
That's funny.
Well, on that, we're going to have to say goodbye to everybody. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I actually do have to go. I got to get back to work, guys.
Got to get rolling.
I can send you some green beans, Charlie.
Perfect.
We're going to sign off too here. Thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it. Yep. Everybody stay tuned.
Always
next
a pleasure.
Week. Again, Chris every day, Chris Jolly. Go follow him. Freight Coach, hashtag it. He's got it all streamlined now. We'll be on again next Friday. You got Trey Griggs and Word on the Street over there and doing it. Big Fridays. See you guys.
See you.